Hey everybody, welcome to another Chess 101 video. Today we're going to talk about something called a pin. So I've set up the board in a specific situation here. You have the white king, the white queen, the black king, black bishop, and a white pawn. Now, if you know the value of material, this is worth 9, this is worth 3, this is worth 1. White has a really big lead with this queen. And so the only way here for black to win is black has to get this pawn and promote it to a queen somehow. So I'm going to show you this example how that can happen. And black is going to use something called a pin. Now, of course, we're going to assume it's black's move here. If it was white's move, white would just check the king, take the bishop, and then it would be easy to win the game from there. But in this situation, it's going to be black's move. So what black's going to do is black is going to attack the queen. And normally if you attack the queen just takes back, right? Or it moves out of the way. But in this case, we're going to put the bishop here on G4. So it's attacking the queen. But the thing is, the queen, first of all, can't move because it's pinned. The queen is pinned because if it moves, it puts a king in check. So it's not a legal move to move the queen. The only thing you can do here is put a piece between it to relieve the pin, which you can't do because there's no other piece. Or you could take. But if you in this situation, if you take, then you're gonna give up the queen and you're gonna have the pawn. So I'll just go ahead and show you how this would play out here. So basically, kind of a losing position for whatever reason. The white queen is there. Maybe the king's just trying to move his way over here to stop the pawn, right? So black plays this. The queen would have to take, right? There's really no other move. You could move the king here, but then the bishop would take, the king would take, and then this king would just play here. And then there's no way to stop this pawn from getting to the end of the board, okay? So the other scenario would be that the queen takes, and then the pawn takes, just advancing a square, getting closer to the edge of the board. And then black comes over here trying to stop the pawn, and or white gets over here trying to stop the pawn, and black just goes here to this square and protects all these squares. So the white king can only go to here. So there's no, even if he played here, he can't really do anything, he can. Here he's kind of stuck. See, he can't take the pawn. No matter what he does in these 3 squares, he can't take the pawn. And he can't get the king in front of the pawn because the king is blocking it. And the whole reason this worked is because of this pin on the queen. So this is why the pin is a really important move. Now, it doesn't have to be for checkmate, or it doesn't have to be to win a queen. It could be for any piece of higher value. So in this case, you've got a rook and a king, and let's just say there's no pawn and there's no king here. Well, the problem is you can't move the rook out of the threat of this bishop because it's pinned. It's pinned because the king is behind it. Another type of pin would be this. You've got a more valuable piece back here, like a queen, and then you've got your knight here, and you want to move your knight, but you can't. Because if you do, then you lose the queen. So a good example here is this piece is pinned and then a rook comes in and puts more pressure on it. So now you can just take the piece and really not be taken back. So pin can be a lot of different ways. Pins are very important in chess. There's a saying called pin and win. So if you pin a higher value piece, and it can't move either because there's a more important piece behind it or the king is behind it, and then you take it, you just end up winning material, okay? Versus just this, where they would just move onto a different square and you can't take it, okay? So that's the idea of a pin. I thought I'd show you that. Remember, pin and win. Everybody knows about it that plays competitive chess. Always looking for opportunity to pin an opponent. Later on, I'll do some games where I show you all these things that I'm showing you, pins and things like that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today to the Chess 101 video, and we'll see you on another video.